Hey church fam, I just wanted to come with you with another After the Message. This is a segment where you get the opportunity to ask questions or want some more clarity on something that was said on Sunday. And it's been cool because a lot of you are digging, a lot of you are growing and wanting to know more. And last Sunday's message was on adultery and lust and sexual immorality. And it was intense, but it was good. It's always good when we dig into the word. And I wanted to bring some clarity to just a couple of things that some of you have talked to me about, but also just as I've been thinking about the message, because it was such a tender topic. First thing is I addressed modesty, and I talked about how modesty is not just hiding your body, but it's revealing your dignity. And I addressed women in particular and talked about how we have to be careful with what we wear because it is a temptation for many people to look, right? What I failed to do was also talk about the ownership that the other person has. I mean, yes, there may be a temptation to look, and yes, there needs to be guardrails to put up to help our brothers and sisters not sin. But ultimately, you are responsible for the sin in your life. We have a culture today that wants to excuse their sin and place it on either people or circumstances or situations, right? And so you've got to own your sin. Yes, that we need to help our brothers and sisters. Yes, we don't need to cause anyone to stumble, but ultimately we have to work on ourselves and allow the Holy Spirit to work on our lives. We have to renew our minds daily. We have to put the spiritual disciplines in place. And so I wanted just to be clear on that temptation, lust, sexual sin, it is running rampant, and it is an individual's sin. And we all have this heart posture that we need to check every single day. And here's the second thing that I wanted to address, because there's so many of us that have been divorced, and in Matthew 5, Jesus says, hey, if you've been divorced for any other reason other than sexual immorality, then it is adultery. And which is really hard, right? Because it leaves a lot of questions. Jesus, am I supposed to stay in a marriage that is toxic? Whether that is mental abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, whether that is a dangerous marriage, whether that if my spouse leaves me, walks out, what am I supposed to do? So lots of questions, right? And I did not go deep into that passage there. I did tell you, and I still encourage you to go back to Matthew 19 to research that, to study that, to watch that past sermon. And I want to be very sensitive because we're dealing with traumatic situations, right? Marriage is so precious, and when it doesn't work out, when divorce is in the picture, when there's been betrayal or abuse, it can be very traumatic. It is very traumatic. So I want to be very sensitive to what I say. And in no way am I condoning staying in a situation that is unsafe, that is abusive or toxic. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I don't believe Jesus is saying that either. At the same time, I don't want to speak for the Lord. And what I would do is, and I even talked a little bit more in the second service about it. So if you're in the first service, you kind of missed a little bit. I didn't want to gloss over people who really are struggling with this. And I would just say, number one, give yourself grace. God has given us an unending amount of mercy and grace, so we need to give ourselves grace. And then number two is, I would say, just continue to seek the Lord, seek the leading of the Holy Spirit, seek godly counsel, wisdom, and press into that. And I just wanted to bring a little clarity to that. I don't know if it helps, but I just want you to know I love you. And I thank you for just leaning in, pressing in. If you had other questions, reach out, let me know. I can't wait to see you soon.